Hi everybody, my name is Todd Jason and welcome to today's presentation, which is called The 5 Keys to Marketing Freedom. And what we'll be covering today is a comprehensive system for creating long-term and sustainable success in your businesses. So there's a lot to cover and I'd like to jump right in. So first, I want to share who this presentation is for. And the following 45 minutes or so is designed for coaches, teachers, consultants, therapists, healers, really for any professional whose primary business objective is to help other people. Okay? And this is for practitioners who are entrepreneurial in the way they approach their business and marketing. So if you're in a position where you receive an endless stream of leads and clients from a large organization that you work for, then this presentation is not really for you. This is for people who run the full gamut of their business. Everything from lead generation to client care to support and to all the logistics around being an entrepreneur. And this is for people who've experienced both the magnetic highs and the challenging lows of being an entrepreneur, right? So there's a reason why we choose this path that has freedom and autonomy and excitement embedded in it. And so there's a lot of positives of being an entrepreneur, but there's also a lot of challenges. And sometimes we have tough months or a tough stretch of months where we don't know where our next batch of clients is going to come from. So this presentation is designed to share a streamlined and crystallized version of a marketing technique that cuts through a lot of the ambiguity when it comes to lead generation. And this is for practitioners who either have right now or are planning to create some form of online offer or product where people from anywhere in the world can find you and engage in your work. And this is for people who've consistently experienced marketing and generating clients and leads to be a big challenge or constant headache in your life. So in the next 45 minutes, we're going to cover a bunch of stuff, right? So first, I'm going to show you how to transition your practice to a place where you're spending 90% of your time doing what you love, teaching and coaching, while spending much less time doing the things that you don't love, i.e. marketing. And you'll be exposed to the power of what I call benchmarking your business with one hyper-optimized program and the lead generation funnel that comes with it that attracts the right clients at great price points. And you'll see why creating a powerhouse offer like this is the very thing that you've been looking for to springboard your business into financial freedom and giving you the flexibility to be a creator, to go out and create new products and new content. And you'll learn about the golden rule of always be automating, what that really means. And I'll share with you how to engage in effective automation starting today. And I'll also share with you how to choose the right outsourcing partners. And these are people and groups who genuinely have your best interest in mind. And this is important because no one can be massively successful alone. We can't do it in a bubble. And where a lot of coaches and teachers go off or wrong is by choosing the wrong people to work with. And there's reasons why. So it's very important to cover this. And I'm also going to share something very important. And I'll show you how to engage in the holy grail of digital marketing, okay, which is cold lead generation. And what that means is how to put out a signal or a message or an ad on Facebook, LinkedIn, and these massive social media platforms and actually get a return on your investment. Because this is often such a nebulous and overwhelming place to even try to engage in, let alone benefit from. So I'm going to go over some really effective techniques for getting ROI from cold lead generation. And my promise to you in this presentation is to give a step-by-step system that generates qualified and consistent leads into your practice while significantly lessening the time you spend scrambling on marketing and lead generation. Now, before we get to all this great stuff and the techniques, I just want to check in with you and see if any of these things sound like you. Okay? So, do you ever lie awake at night wishing you could just snap your fingers and have all this marketing stuff just figured out? Or perhaps some magical person, might appear in your life that could just run your business and all your logistics, freeing you to do what you really love to do. And are you tired of making mistakes in terms of hiring? Or have you ever been disappointed with contractors or coaches who've left you even more confused or overwhelmed? And are you sick and tired of stressing around money, wondering what the next 12 months, 6 months, or even the next 1 month is going to look like? And are you frustrated with all the mixed messages out there when it comes to marketing? I know that I am. You could see 100 different solutions to the same question, all of which have validity. And they're very mixed messages. So knowing what to actually do can be confusing and overwhelming. And do you ever feel alone in your business and frustrated because you know that you have such valuable teachings and gifts to give, but it's always being thwarted because you're constantly stressed around your logistics? And do you crave simplicity, a reality where you're giving your absolute best to an expanding client base, where you're empowered to spend most of your time creating and evolving your work? And do you ever worry that you'll never fully bust loose and have that healthy, profitable, and vibrant business just running, right? And this is what you've dreamed about for a long time and why you've chosen the path of being an entrepreneur. So if any of these things sound like you, if you resonate with any of the statements that I just read, I have good news for you. The news is that all of these things are not the real problem, okay? They're symptoms. And there's a deeper rooted problem that once you understand and address it and then solve it, it actually takes all these things that I just said and they're not there anymore. Okay? You're actually free to run your business the way that you want. Right? So, as I said, these are just symptoms. And the issue, okay, that I've seen over the last 20 years of doing this work in the world for coaches and teachers is that you haven't yet established what I call a foundational revenue stream that always satisfies short-term goals and then frees you up to become the creator in your business again. And that's what leads to long-term success, right? So creating this baseline revenue model is so important, okay? And it's not only about money. It's actually the security and the trust that you have that your business is running. And once you do this, okay, it's very important to understand what your reality looks like. Because as this is established in your business and in your life, the energetic of your business shifts from hustling to make X amount of money and enroll Y number of clients to choosing how many clients and how much money you want coming into your business. And you'll wake up each morning feeling absolutely on fire because you're working within a plan that's designed to grow in a healthy way. And your creativity frees up tremendously. And your clients and your students notice it and they benefit by getting a very present best version of you. And you'll suddenly have way more time to engage in all those creative projects that have always been labeled for later, i.e. that book you want to write or that year-long retreat you'd love to do. And you can do those things now because you have a financial engine that affords you this opportunity. And you'll feel more satisfied professionally and personally because the amount of service that you're giving to the world and to your clients is increasing. And this is why you're really here. Okay? So let me share a little about me. And again, my name is Todd Jason, and it's really nice to meet you. And I've spent the last 20 years of my life working in the personal growth and spiritual development worlds. And I've been doing that in various capacities. And I've had the honor, and the gift to work with some of the most incredible thought leaders on the planet and organizations that are making really big changes in the world. And I'm known as a coach of coaches because I've helped hundreds probably thousands of thought leaders at this point, purify and unleash their messages and their gifts to the world. And I specialize in working with teachers and coaches to create long-term success via expansive digital marketing efforts. The online world affords us the freedom that we want as entrepreneurs, and I really specialize in helping people find that sweet spot. Okay, so a lot of people ask me, how I uncovered the 5 perspectives, the 5 keys I'm about to share with you. And I started my career in New York City in the mid-1990s, right at the time when the first internet bubble was emerging. And so I worked for a very large and growing company called DoubleClick in New York for over 4 years. And in that time, I got to learn hands-on approaches to how to move product online, how to sell things online, and how to communicate it, and how to write copy, and all these basic things. And while this career was fulfilling, it all came tumbling down on a very auspicious day, on September 11th, 2001. And I was one of those people running away from the falling buildings. And while this was a devastating time for so many of us, it really impacted me because I had watched with my own 2 eyes many of my friends die, and really my community get decimated. And this set me off on a very different path, because I left my career at that time, and I went off to explore and ask questions about who I really was and who we really were, because I had seen that the problems in the world weren't just somewhere out there in the Middle East or something. They were right here in my backyard. And so I spent a few years just really going deep on the path of inquiry. And I went around and I followed teachers, and I read every book, and I took every course, and I did everything that I could to find answers to the questions that I had. And this was a really glorious time in many ways for me. And what I quickly found was that there was also a career for me in this world, because a lot of the teachers that I was meeting, they had a need for someone like me who understood the internet, because they didn't have anybody that understood that. And that's how I came to work with people like Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle and Sounds True and Marianne Williamson and just a whole host of amazing organizations. And I got to learn while also giving my gifts. And so that career has transformed over the decades, and I've created a lot of different types of products and programs, and have been involved in business that has generated over $20 million and reached millions and millions of people from around the world. So when people ask me, how I discovered these keys, it's through trial and error. It was through me doing this over and over again and coaching people how to do it over and over again, and having successes and failures along the way. And that's how we learn. That's how we grow. Okay? So when working with the following 5 keys, okay, there are 5 things that you guys must understand, and then put them into practice immediately. And when you do this, it creates the professional freedom that you so ardently desire. So I'm going to walk through these 5 perspectives right now. Okay, so the first key to marketing freedom is that you must dedicate a short period of time laying the proper foundation for your business by planning long term. Okay, now this might sound obvious, but when I talk about strategic planning, what I found over the years is that many coaches and teachers and healers who are running their business have not done proper planning over the long term. And the reason why is that they're often caught up in the overwhelm of the present day and all the things that they need to get done to make ends meet. And I am sensitive to that, right? I've been there myself, and I've coached hundreds of people who have been there. And what I'm here to tell you is that when you're caught up in the fray of your business and you're not able to see the bigger picture, it's very hard to get out of the constant fray that you're in, okay? And so it's absolutely necessary to start this process by taking a short period of time to think with the end in mind about your business. And when you do this, it creates a clear path for where you want to go, And then we can start laying the foundation for getting there. All right. So what I'm talking about is actually thinking 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, depending on your age, in advance. What is it that you want to have happen? When massive success strikes you, what does your life look like? Okay? Are you an author? Are you traveling the world speaking? Are you retired and other people have taken your work? Like, what is it that you're trying to get to? Do you want to continue to see clients all the time? So these are very basic questions, but when you start thinking about it from a different lens, it starts to shift your approach to what you do every day. Okay? And so thinking with the end in mind is absolutely necessary because that's how we know what tracks to lay to get us to our goal. Okay? It's just the quickest way to become efficient and productive in what you do. All right? The challenge often is stopping to do that, right? And actually understanding how to do it in a great way, which is, part of what I help to do. One of my teachers many years ago taught me the power of a 5-year plan. So after we kind of look long term, we start coming back, right? We start working backwards systematically. And he taught me this very important lesson that I want to share with you. And at the time when I was working with him, I was struggling in many areas of my life. And he said, well, give me something that you want to accomplish, like a goal that you have that's very clear. And I said, well, I really would love to have a family. I would love to find a partner and a wife and have a family. And I was single at the time, and that really was hard for me. And he said, okay. He's like, well, can you imagine accomplishing that in 1 year? Because a lot of people look at 1 year planning, right? What can I do next year, a year from today, right? And I thought about it. And I said, well, that would be pretty hard because number one, I have to find somebody, and then I have to, fall in love with them, and you have to probably get married or have some kind of agreement, and then we have to get pregnant and have a baby. That probably can't happen within a year. And he said, well, what about in 5 years? And I thought about it, and I said, well, if I wore a 5-year lens, yeah, that's pretty reasonable for me to accomplish that in 5 years. And then he quickly switched, and he asked me about my financial objectives. Like, what were my goals financially? And I had some clear goals about how much money I wanted to be making. And he said, okay, like, could you accomplish that goal in 1 year? And I thought, I'm like, well, so magic would really have to happen for me to do this in 12 months. And he said, well, what about in 5 years? And it was the same thing. I saw that if I wore a different lens on my life or in my business, and I started thinking about things in 5-year chunks, that I could pretty much accomplish anything that I wanted if I was smart and I was working within a 5-year context. Now, most people don't feel like they have that amount of time. Like, oh, I need to get this done now. But I can tell you that it's the shift in lens that's important, because once you start wearing a slightly longer lens around accomplishing goals, what magically ends up happening is that you achieve things quicker. So the things that I wanted to have happen in 5 years would happen in 2 years or 3 years, or sometimes even less. Okay? And the reason why is that once you lay out the plan and you're working within a structure that you're confident is going to work, it just accelerates your path through it. Right? And this is why I always recommend long-term planning to start this process. It's absolutely necessary. Okay? The quickest way to achieve your short-term goals, because again, that's where most people are living, is to do great long-term planning. It's a koan in a way, right? And most people, again, don't feel like they have the time to do this. But you don't need to spend months creating a long-term plan. You can do this relatively quickly. And remember what the goal here is, okay? The goal is to free you to be spending 90% of your time doing what you love. And let me give you a little tidbit here. When you create your business where you're spending 90% of your time doing that which gives you joy, that's where your success is. Because if you're spending a lot of time out of your core competencies, out of the joy, then the success is never going to land. And so our goal here is to get you doing what you love all the time. Okay? So let's move on to the second key, which actually is the complete opposite, right? And this one is that you must nail a sustainable financial engine as soon as you can. Okay, so we just talked about the benefits of long-term planning and where this 20-year lens and then this 5-year lens. Now I come back to the second key and say, all right, well, now you got to nail a sustainable financial engine really fast. And absolutely, okay, this is the next thing to do. And this is where a lot of coaches just don't have deep clarity or focus around the financial piece. And I want to talk about this because I fully understand that because of the nature of what you do and that you're here to serve others and help people, this isn't only about money for you. It's not the only reason why you do this. And that's been frustrating, most likely, because to be successful, you need to have financial flow. And at the same time, you want to serve and you want to help. And that's what you're here to do. So these two things are often at odds with each other. And I had to learn this the hard way as well. But once you nail a sustainable financial engine, okay, and you do it quickly, and you do it in a way that can grow without spending a lot more time on it, it frees you up to be of more service. Okay, and a lot of coaches and teachers have a problem or a challenge seeing money as a way to provide you the freedom and the space to create, to do what you love. Again, so it's another mindset shift, right? You got to actually put your focus on short-term financial sustainability and really say, I need to nail this. Okay, I need to actually figure this out. This is where my freedom is. This is where my creativity is going to flow once I do this. Right? It's very powerful to start wearing that lens, and hopefully you're feeling that right now. It's like, yeah, I haven't really done that in my career. I've just kind of been piecemealing things together and just making ends meet here and there. Maybe having a great month and then a couple tough months, but actually nailing this sustainably, very, very important. So the way that I highly recommend looking at this is to create one very clear and very optimized program that encapsulates the very best of your work. Okay? And I share that because, again, this is something that a lot of teachers and coaches don't do. You know, our work is scattered. We have a lot of our ideas all over the place, you know, and maybe we have articles that we've written and podcasts that we've done, and perhaps we do have a book or that we coach people and we do some great coaching, but we haven't necessarily put it all together into a very condensed, powerful, and comprehensive offer that represents the very best of what we do. And there's a reason why doing this is so powerful. Number one, it gives you great clarity as a teacher and allows you to get very present moment with all the amazing perspectives and teachings that you have, right? You're constantly learning and growing. So when you create a program and you stop, you say, I'm going to create the best of my work right now. I'm going to give the absolute best I can to all the students out there that need my work. It gives you the ability to kind of do that. The second thing it does is it magnetizes the right people to find you, okay? When you have deep clarity around your work and something that's very clear, an offer that's very clear, the right people out there will see that and be like, yeah, well, I need that. That guy is speaking to me, or that lady, that coach, that person is really speaking to me. They understand my problem and they understand where I want to go, and they've done the work to become the bridge, all right? So this program also benefits from the clarity by allowing you to price it appropriately, okay? And what I mean is that this can be and should be a high ticket item, right? Not something that you give away for free, not something that you sell for $100 or $200. This is an actual program that is the very best, that meets a certain person where they're at and can move them from point A to point B, and that empowers you to actually charge a higher price point. And again, this is something that 99% of the coaches and teachers out there have a big problem with: how to price their work appropriately. Now, the world has changed, and in the 20 years I've been doing this, I can tell you that the space is much more open for higher price points. People out there really need the work. They need help. Okay. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But they will pay money for great coaching if it's super clear what they'll be getting. So looking at your work in a way to streamline it and create something condensed, but then also, raise the price point and not to be scared to do that. This is where your success lies, is right here in creating that long-term plan and then coming back and saying, yeah, like, let me do something that's different than the way I've been doing it. Let me create something clear and then charge a higher, price for it. And once you do that, we can craft a very simple and non-overwhelming, that's key, lead generation funnel that will then drive qualified clients towards that work. All right. So this is a very simple and elegant way to completely transform your business. Right. And, most people are spending a lot of time doing a lot of different things and throwing a wide net out there. All right. But they're not really just harnessing and focusing their work on what's really important, okay? Which is the very best of your ideas, condense into something, charging a really great price for it, and then crafting a marketing funnel that is out there to, kind of signal the right people to say, hey, come into my fold. And when you do this, this generates that foundational revenue stream that I'm talking about. And it can grow by itself over time. It can be nurtured, but it gives you the freedom to expand into other areas. It gives you the freedom to grow as a teacher. It gives you the freedom to be more present with the people that you're working with. All right. So the old way is to do lots of content, lots of branding, lots of work, right? Perhaps you kind of have email partners and joint ventures, and most of the people I've worked with over the years come to me and they show me how hard they're working, right? They get up and they have, 3 articles every week they write, and they do these podcasts and they interview people, and they're doing Facebook Lives, and, they're blogging, and there's just like so much content, and they have all these partners and literally scouring, like doing all this work just to, maybe get a couple of clients in the door. Maybe someone out there finds you and says, yeah, okay, that seems cool. Let me get on the phone with you and do something. And the results are unpredictable, they're inefficient, and they're unsustainable, right? This lifestyle is not sustainable, okay? And a lot of coaches and teachers get really burnt because they haven't nailed a foundational revenue stream that affords them space and relaxation, okay? They're living in a stressed, like, I gotta do all this stuff. I have to keep pushing. And it's not the ideal way to go. And I know this firsthand. I've done this myself. Okay. So the new way is to create one high-priced, profitable offer. Again, that represents the best of what you do. And then to craft a very clear and simple lead generation funnel. And the results of going this way, of spending your time doing something in this way, which is different, is that you get predictable results. It actually becomes predictable how many clients and how much money comes into your business. It's efficient, right? It's running like a well-oiled machine. The shift that happens when people do this is huge. They actually can breathe again and have fun in their business. And it's sustainable, right? This is where you can relax into the idea that you are going to be doing this work for the next 20, 30 years. And it's freeing, right? That's what it does. It gives you a sense of freedom, like this gentleman in the picture running down the hill. So Monday blues or Monday juice. And this is a common phenomenon that I see that coaches and teachers change, right? So before they take this work on and wear this lens that I'm giving you and engage with these keys, they often wake up on Monday morning with 5 articles to write and, all this stuff they got to do. And the goal, like I said, is hopefully people find you and they just magically filter into your email saying, hey, I would love to work with you, or I would love to get on the phone with you, right? And that's the goal of that kind of marketing. But what if you take what I'm saying seriously and you take a short period of time to structure your business this way, what happens on Mondays is that you get up and you look on your calendar and you have 10 qualified leads who booked appointments with you, and they filled out a questionnaire, and they're qualified, right? They saw like your marketing and they saw what you're doing, and they're like, okay, and these people are apt to spend $3,000, $6,000, $9,000, whatever price you come up with that is fair for the best of your work, and you are going to engage with those people. I mean, that is such a shift, okay? Waking up on Monday and being stressed and not knowing what the week is going to be like, or waking up and actually knowing that you're going to have an amazing week. Okay, it's a huge shift. So the third key is that you must learn how to benefit from the massive upside of cold lead generation. Okay, so when I talked about the marketing funnel in the previous point, in the previous key, the very top of that funnel, the widest point, is lead generation, right? Like, how do we actually get out there and meet potential clients and have them start the process of coming into our fold, coming into our work, right? And so there's a lot of ways to do that. And what I'm here to share is that once you understand how to put out messages and signals and ads on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on some of these larger social media platforms, and have these people come in and get a return on your investment, it is a complete game changer for your business. Okay, you will never struggle again for clients, for leads, for business, because figuring that out has always been, for me and for many people like me, the holy grail of digital marketing. And the reason why is that there are billions of people on these platforms. And I just want to share, I touched on this a moment ago, but before I get into the Facebook ads and the LinkedIn ads, I just want to share that the reason why coaching is getting so popular right now, the reason why there's so many more coaches sprouting up and coaching programs and things happening on the coaching side, is that if you haven't noticed, there are real problems in the world. The levels of anxiety and stress that people are dealing with on a daily basis is amplified, okay? And so there's a need for your work in the world, okay? Whatever it is that you do uniquely, right? Whatever modality you teach, okay, is so valuable right now. This is why I just get passionate about what I'm doing, because there's a lot of need out there. People are suffering, okay? And so many coaches and teachers are remaining small, right? You have valuable gifts. You have something to really help others, go from point A to point B. And yet you just haven't figured out marketing. You haven't figured out how to land your business, right? You're constantly in stress mode. But the goal here is to get you out of stress mode, so that way you can be unleashed to give your gifts, because people out there need it, right? And when you figure out Facebook ads and you understand how to put a signal out there that draws people in, to your fold, and draws them in, and eventually they enroll into a high price program that only you can do, and that's happening all the time, it gives you a sense of joy, a sense of purpose, but it's also serving, right? And so that's what's been missing for so many teachers and coaches out there, is the system, that is non-overwhelming, that enables you to meet those people. All right. So a lot of folks get scared off by, well, I don't want to do Facebook ads and LinkedIn ads. I don't ever click on those things, right? No one ever clicks on those things. That's not true. Okay. And I can tell you this from a lot of experience. Those platforms are an opportunity to provide a very clear signal for what you do. Okay. That's where people spend their time. So that's where you need to be. The old way is, like I said before, lots of content, doing branding, putting your image out there, just like doing a lot of work to build a persona of yourself, so that way eventually people will find you. And this is a surefire way to work a lot of hours, 40 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours a week, some people, and maybe to earn at the end of the year $80,000, $100,000, $120,000, which isn't bad, right? I don't want to dismiss those numbers. Okay, like that's not a bad living, but it's a lot of work, a lot of hustle to get there, right? The new way is to create one powerhouse program and funnel as described, that gets your baseline revenue way up and your time way down, gives you freedom. And the way that we get those prospective clients is by Facebook, LinkedIn ads, okay? Cold lead generation. And this is where the freedom comes, all right? So I want to move on to the next point, okay? The key number 4 for marketing freedom. And this one is that you must engage in, what I call the golden rule of always be automating, okay? So the word automation, comes with different connotations. And, Tim Ferriss, who's an amazing author and teacher, and he wrote a book many years ago called The 4-Hour Workweek and also The 4-Hour Body. And in his first book, he talked a lot about the power of automation, that you can automate your entire business and you can magically be working 4 hours a week. And, while that's a great goal for some people, I know that a lot of teachers and coaches, they don't want to work 4 hours a week. They love what they do. They want to work more hours. They just want to be more efficient in what they do. And so automation does not mean that you're not going to work anymore. Automation actually is freedom, right? And when you're constantly automating the parts of your business that don't need your daily attention, right? It is in that process that the freedom you crave manifests, right? And I can't say this point more or clearly enough, but automation is not something that you do once a month. It's not something that you do once a year. It's actually something that you build into your practice every day. Okay, that's the difference with this point. The golden rule of always be automating isn't hire someone to automate. It's actually you're constantly automating everything that you do. Okay, once you figure it out and it's working, you just kind of put it on autopilot. All right. Automation gives you choice of what to do in your business. Many people are, their business is dictating, okay, what they do every day or every week, right? And that's not a great way to wake up on Monday mornings. A great way to wake up is to have freedom. Be like, all right, this is what I'm going to do this week. This is what I'm called to do. This is what the creator within me, needs to have happen. This is what my clients need. And so automating gives you the ability to do that. And almost all coaches out there and teachers don't know how to fully automate their stuff, their business. And the number one process that you need to automate is the lead generation, getting those new clients in the door. And this is a reversal, a shift, because many teachers and coaches are spending a lot of their time trying to get new clients. Now, can you imagine if you were able to automate that part of your business, meaning that you didn't have to worry about where the people that need to find you, like where they're coming from or how they're coming? Like that's happening automatically. Okay, that's the place of power that you need to look to get to. All right, so processing lead or automating lead generation is a very beautiful place to be in your business. Okay, and it's a lens, it's a mindset shift. Like, how do I begin automating what I do so that way I am not hustling all the time and exhausting myself? All right, so again, this is a process in terms of how to do this. And the fifth point goes hand in hand with the previous one. And this one is that you must learn how to outsource wisely. All right. And when I talk about this, I'm talking about people and groups who understand the sensitive nature of your work. Right. And as I've been saying throughout this whole presentation, you're not only in this for the money, you're in this for the service. And oftentimes we hire people, consultants, contractors, employees, who don't really get the truth about why we do what we do and how deep it is that we go with clients. And what I'm here to tell you, and this is really important, so I really want you to listen to this, is that when we're working with getting mentorship or coaching from people that don't understand that, it forms a disconnect somewhere along the way. It could be in the communication, it could be, in the website, in the ads. It could be in a webinar that you do, that you're coached to do, because somebody's telling you to do something a certain way, but your heart is in it in another way. And that's what translates into, not being as successful as you need to be, right? And one of my teachers taught me years ago is that everything translates, right? Every communication translates. And when something is off, it actually hurts great clients from walking in the door, okay? And, the number one thing that I've seen out there when teachers and coaches are trying to learn marketing and lead generation is that they're learning it from people and groups who spend all their time and make all their revenue by teaching marketing, right? And that makes sense, right? Because, those people understand marketing. So we try to learn from them, and they show you all this super sexy stuff. Like, wow, like I'm going to do this. I'm going to make all that money, and this is going to be really easy, and all these things. And what happens is we get involved and enrolled, and, we might have some success, or, we're working really hard in a new way. But then when, that coach is gone or that program is over, we're then left with a big pile of stuff to do, like platforms to build or upkeep and technologies to run and integrate, all these things. And it kind of throws us for a loop, right? And the reason why is that the marketers that are teaching you the stuff, they have a certain core competency, right? They love working with technologies. They love working with platforms. They love like geeking out on Facebook ads and tracking mechanisms and Facebook pixels and all this stuff, right? That's what they love to do. And because they don't fully get that you don't love to do that, that's where the disconnect is. So oftentimes a teacher will come out of a program or working with a coach and be all fired up, but then they can't find the success because they're overwhelmed with all these things that they don't really know how to do. And a lot of times they'll end up hiring somebody to run it, right? Because now they're invested. Now they really need to make this work. They have to hire more people. And then they have somebody that they've hired who they don't really know, who's now managing a system that they don't really understand. And it's just a big mess. Okay? So don't do that, right? You must learn how to outsource wisely. And when I talk about outsourcing, as I speak these words, I myself have 3 different coaches in my life, 3 different mentors. And the reason why is that we all need to learn from people who are further ahead than us, okay, in whatever line we want to go. The fastest way to achieve success is to find someone else that's already laid the tracks for that success, that's already modeled it. And then you go out there and you learn from them, or you imitate them, or you ask them questions. Okay? So really important to get mentorship and get modeling, but to choose the right partners. Okay? So I've shared a little bit about how to do that. They need to understand the nature of what you do. But the other part of it is that when you're looking to work with someone, the question you need to be asking is, are these people simplifying my life? Are they getting me to a place where I can automate? Right? Are they getting me to a place where this is going to be running like an engine that I don't have to spend all my time doing things I don't love to do? Very, very important. The only thing that should be evolving in your career with more and more complexity as time goes on is your work, is your creativity. That's what should be getting deeper and deeper and richer, not the platforms and the technologies and the marketing. Okay? What should be evolving, a lot is your work. That's what you're here to do. So we got to keep our eye on that. Okay? Really important stuff. So today I promised a bunch of stuff, right? So I want to recap what I went over. And I shared that you'll be shown how to transition your practice to a place where you spend 90% of your time doing what you love, teaching and coaching, and much less time doing what you don't love. I said that you'll be exposed to the power of benchmarking your business with one hyper-optimized program and lead generation funnel. I said that you'll see why creating a powerhouse offer like this is the very thing you've been looking for as the springboard to financial freedom and unleashing your creativity. And I talked about the golden rule of always be automating and how it's absolutely necessary to integrate automation as a process that you're always doing. And then I shared about outsourcing wisely, okay? And I told you that I would share with you how to choose the right partners and the right coaches and the right mentors. So what you need to do right now, first, is to take a short period of time and create a long-term game plan. Then you need to spend some time to create one hyper-optimized offer, program, and funnel. And then you need to learn how to benefit from the holy grail of digital marketing, social media ads. And then you need to automate your business, okay? And get yourself down to 10% of your time being spent on logistics. And lastly, you need to engage with wise and understanding growth partners, all right? So we're at the point in this presentation where you have a choice, right? And the choice is clear. You can either stay where you're at right now, right? Which is, kind of like hustling, not fully sure what the future looks like, not really having that solid long-term game plan, and not having that foundational revenue model, that's there, that's your best friend, that is just running, that is churning out great clients, great work, and great impact, and great revenues, giving you the freedom, right, that you need to create. And you can just stay there in this kind of ambiguous zone of like not knowing how to make a proper decision, not knowing who to work with, and just kind of like being in this kind of like, man, I got to make ends meet every month thing. Or you can go over to another side, right? And just take the freedom that's there, right? And actually go for it and spend some time to do proper long-term planning. Spend some time to crystallize the very best of your work into an offer and program that is here to serve your clients, that is here to serve all those people out in the world that need to see you. And then spend a short period of time to build a very simple marketing funnel that starts with lead generation in Facebook and LinkedIn and all these social media spots, right? And put those signals out in the world in a way that those people will find you. So that's where the freedom lies. That's where your choice happens, okay? So here's how I can help, right? If you can't tell, this is my passion, okay? I love helping people cross this bridge. And I've set aside some time over the next 2 days to speak with you about how you can apply these keys and create the freedom that you want today. And, whatever it is that you're going through, right? Everyone thinks that their situation is so unique, but it isn't. A lot of us are dealing with the same stuff. I've seen it and I've helped solve it. And what we'll do on this call is that we'll devise a step-by-step approach for you to start engaging in these 5 keys. And it'll have you humming in a short period of time. And it's free, okay? I don't charge anything for these calls. And so again, I just want to recap who this is for. And so again, this is for coaches, teachers, healers who want to benefit from the amazingness of online digital programs. And this is for people who are entrepreneurs and who are willing to work hard to achieve long-term success and even learn how to create passive revenue streams, because that's where this goes. And this is for people who want to change the world in their own unique way. I mean, that's why I love to help. For people out there who have a gift, who have a talent, who are here to serve, okay, and just need to figure out a proper structure. That's who this is for. So people ask me, well, why do I do this? Well, first off, I've been working in this world for 20 years doing all these things, and this is the best way that I can see to give back, right? To give what I know how to do back, into service. It's also the fastest way that I can have an impact on the world. And the reason why is that, I can't teach what you do, right? I can't do what you do. You have a unique gift. You have a unique process. You have a unique system that helps people go from point A to point B. The biggest impact that I can have is to help you become fully unleashed. And really at the end of the day, I want to put an end to the struggle for people like us who put others first And I want you guys to become the symbols of abundance, flow, and success. I mean, that's the way that this should be. So are you game, right? Are you game to book your session with me? So the way to do that is really simple. First off, you just click on the button below and it goes right to the appointment page, and you can pick your time, and then you and I will get on the phone together. The one thing that I ask you is that there's a questionnaire after you set your appointment that I really would love for you to fill out, right? Because I want to get on the phone with you having some idea of who I'm talking to and what your situation is. So that's really helpful for you to fill out that questionnaire. And if you're not on my website and you want to schedule this appointment, it's www.growthonline.co/schedule. Okay. So again, it's www.growthonline.co/schedule. And you can schedule your appointment directly on that page. And again, click the button. So I've had a great time giving this presentation, and I just give you an invite to set up this call with me. Get on the phone, explore these keys. This really is a super streamlined pathway for the freedom that you want. So take it. Take this opportunity, to schedule that call with me. And I really do look forward to talking with you. I just love having those conversations. And again, it's been a pleasure being with you today, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.